Good evening, one and all. Welcome along. It is season 4, episode 57. It is Project Prospect, and we are talking about cornerbacks tonight. Mike, how are things?
Not bad. How are you, sir?
Not too bad, not too bad. A little bit sniffly and a little bit snotty tonight. So if I'm on mute, Mike will be doing most of the talking.
That's usually how it is, anyway. Isn't it?
Yeah, it
You
is. It
this
is.
is just the time of year for me and you to get talking again.
Yeah,
When
it
we
is.
miss each other throughout the whole season, so we just catch up for the next 3 months.
Yeah. But this is the great thing. This is the period of the year that you and I look forward to most.
Yeah,
You know,
that's when watching all that college finally pays off.
yeah, it's putting our boards together. It's moving guys up, moving guys down. Like obviously the combine is this week, and there's going to be so many stories coming out of that.
I'm so
And
excited for it too.
you know, it's just going to be so much fun for the next. You know, I think we're into less than 70 days. Are we at 60 days even?
Something, yeah, it's going to be around there now.
Yeah,
I need to start getting a timer set up. I'll have to get that done.
yeah. Like to get that countdown on and like that. Like this is the kind of the time of the year where myself and Mike nearly are on the phone to each other, going, right, what are we going to do? When are we going to do things? What are we going to do about the draft? So you know, lot of things to get tied up and nailed down for that. But there will be news which we'll share with everybody soon about that.
Yeah, we do need to figure out what our draft plan. The issue is with everything that's going on this year with the draft and with all the draft reports that I've ended up having to do at the moment. I'm I'm just strapped for time.
Yeah,
Only so many hours in a day.
yeah, that's it. And I mean, this is, as we say, this is our secondary jobs. And I mean, this is nearly your third job now at this stage, because you know, like the amount of content you're pumping out. So it is great fun. But look, obviously we're going to talk about cornerbacks tonight. We have, again, myself and Mike have picked out 3 guys each. We're going to give you a bit of a rundown on them, what their good and bad points are. But before we get into that, we said we'd maybe chat for 5-10 minutes. Just there has been a lot of news has happened in the last few days. Obviously, Stephen Jones was talking to the media earlier today, and there was a lot of sound bites came out of that.
Yeah, James Slater had a post with all the little tidbits. Sorry, I apologize. My phone is going bananas over here and it's interfering with the mic. So if there's people listening to the podcast, I'm really sorry. Let me try and fix this a minute. Well, sorry, keep going, mate.
Yeah. But I mean, like, obviously, look, the big news that's coming out in the past few days is that they're looking to extend Dak. And I mean, this had been flagged that this was going to be this was what was going to happen. They were going to give him the 2 seasons. They were going to renegotiate, extend it. It's going to free up some cash and you know, and a bit of movement ahead of free agency, what kicks off on the 15th of March. So, you know, gives us time, and it's going to tie in with something we're going to talk about in a few minutes. It's just the tags. So, you know, are you happy? Are you sad to hear about that potentially being extended, or have you any?
No, well, I put it on Twitter like all the way back in January, and got like heavily, what's the word I'm looking for? Heavily trolled for saying it, and I was like, look, people are saying, what do we do with that? Do we, you know, because there's a lot of money on there, and people were coming up with all these different ideas and what have you. And I was like, well, why don't you extend him? And people were just like, oh, and you know, oh, you're mad. And you know, a lot of it was coming off the season where he just thrown a lot of interceptions. So a lot of people have that still at the forefront of their mind. Yeah. So there was all that. And I was just like, okay, I'm just saying, it makes the most sense. And here we are then a few months later, and it's, oh yeah, by the way, we're thinking of extending Dak. And it's like, yeah, I know. I was saying that already. It makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I know you're going to have him for longer. You've got the void years as well. But what you're doing is you're able to spread the load.
Yeah.
Which is what it's all about.
Yeah. And like, this is the one thing with Dak. And I mean, look, myself and Jamie have gotten into this in our group chat on several occasions. You know, like, who are you going to replace Dak Prescott with? You know, if you get rid of him, you have a huge problem because of the cap and dead cap that's going to have. So obviously, you need to extend him and extend him beyond that. Like, we're not going to be going into the first round of this year's draft and drafting CJ Stroud or, you know, Bryce Young. That's not going to happen. So, you know, free up some cash, create some space, and give some more weapons. And that seems to be the talk that we're hearing.
That makes like everything else. I mean, like the thing is that people just keep always coming back to, oh, he hasn't won a Super Bowl. Here's one thing when I hear that. Oh yeah, you know, he hasn't got a Super Bowl. Do you know in the NFL right now, there are only, I believe I might get it wrong. It's either 3 or 4. I believe it's 4. There are only 4 quarterbacks right now in the NFL that have a Super Bowl ring.
So
there are 32 teams in the NFL.
Yeah. So you're saying like you've Mahomes, Rodgers, Stafford, and then who else? Who's our other one?
I'm trying to think who the other guy could be.
If anyone is in the comments can think, don't be afraid to drop it in.
I'm going through each team a minute.
Yeah. You know, but I mean, this is the thing, as we always say, Mike, you know, in terms of, oh, where's the Super Bowl or where's
nope. Yeah, I know what it is, and that's why it's 3, not 4. That it was 4 until Carson Wentz got removed from the Commanders, because theoretically he has a Super Bowl ring.
Well, I was going to say, as you said, oh yeah, I have now. I was about to say another name, Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I mean, like the trouble is you know that's looking at backup quarterbacks, and you could do that. You could be like, then all of a sudden you extend a bit more. But I believe I've got that wrong, and it is. I think it's. There are 4 quarterbacks. I'll try and think who the other guy is as we're chatting away. Anyway, sorry. Continue on.
But the other thing we were talking about, myself and Mike were talking about this before we jumped on. We said we'd have a quick little chat about it. Obviously, Stephen Jones has been chatting to the press today. He's mentioned that they're going to use the tag on somebody. He said not Tony, but potentially. There is someone else. Joe is saying Doug Williams. I don't know if that's. I don't think that's true. Oh, Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
There we go.
We get there.
There we go. Joey inspired me.
I guess they're in the end. It's hard to think of the names when you're chatting away, isn't it? But anyway, yeah.
But you know, like Stephen has said, we're going to use the tag. And Mike, you have an interesting candidate for the tag, and I you've explained your logic to me, and I think it makes sense. So you know, if you want to give us a quick rundown.
Yeah, well, I mean, we said it on Thursday's show when they were going over the tags, is that because they said we were going over the price of each player in terms of tag, and the most expensive to do is LVE, Leighton Vander Esch. She's like 20 million to franchise tag. And I said, well, there is a reason why you would use that. And that is that you don't want him to test the free agent market. So Donovan Wilson, let him test. Tony Pollard, let him test. Connor McGovern, let him go and test the free agent market. See what they go out there and what they get. Because you can bolster these positions if you need to in the draft. You can as well with linebacker.
Yeah.
But we've seen last year the defense with Leighton Vander Esch in, more specifically the run defense. We've seen how effective he was with Jonathan Hankins last year. Then he got injured at the end of the season and he missed a couple of games. And we saw then how the run defense was not as effective. So when he comes back, it's effective again. And we're playing against Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers, and you go back and have a look, Leighton Vander Esch is really good at, during that game at trying to slow him down. So what I'm thinking, a reason why you would use LVE as the tag is that you don't want him to test the free agent market and rack up the bill. So you say, right, I'll franchise tag him. That saves us. We've got him for the year. Doesn't necessarily mean, though, that come at the start of the season, he's playing on the tag, because all at this stage, between now and the 14th of July, when you tag these players, it just means that you can continue your contract negotiations until then. If you don't come to an agreement, then that means that, okay, they're playing on the tag for this year. And what the tag amount is in terms of LV, I think it's 20.4 million. That's how much he would be playing for that year. So you tag him in respects of trying to cover your bases. Just for now until post-draft, and you can see what you've done with your team and with the players you drafted, and you try and get into the negotiation talks then with LVB. Bear in mind, the team can still take away the tag. They can go and remove it and be like, right, we're done. We're not doing this anymore. They can do that too. So it's only once you get past July, are you really then saying, oh, God, that's when you worry about it. Until then, they're only tagging to cover themselves. And LVE makes more sense than all the others, especially when you think how deep the running back class is this year. You look at the safeties and the cornerbacks, defensive backs in this year's draft, really deep. So, there are options available to you in all the positions. There are as well in linebacker, but I think they just want to do it to cover their bases with him, knowing that you've got options for everything else.
And Joseph is just putting in a comment here. We cut a great run stopper from Arkansas. I'm actually just reading that properly now in terms of John Ridgway. There's another guy there, and I think he's LV 2.0, and that is Drew Saunders, who's the linebacker out of Arkansas. I'd be very intrigued. And look, we'll definitely talk about Drew Saunders on one of the Tuesdays in the next few weeks.
We'll do linebacker next if you want. We'll do that next week. Drew is he's actually outside of the main linebackers that you can talk about, or edge rushers at the linebacker position as well. He's really, in terms of an off-ball linebacker, one of the best in the draft. And if they took him in the first round, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad way to go. I would be happy with that pick.
Yeah, very definitely. But look, we've created a beautiful segue, so we're going to cut straight into it. As I say, we're kind of on the clock tonight. We need to get out of here early. So we've taken 3 cornerbacks each. We're going to break them down, where you might get them in the draft, why they'd be a suitable fit, their strengths, their weaknesses. So, Mike, if you want to give us your first guy.
Okay.
I like it.
I mean, and that's twice I've done that in 2 weeks, where I've left it looping. So I mean, one of the guys I put down was Devon Witherspoon from Illinois, right? For me, he is, because a lot of people talk about like Christian Gonzalez is one guy. Some will say Joey Porter, which I think is mad if you do, but these are the people who will say is the best cornerback. For me, it's Devon Witherspoon, and I would like him to make it to the Cowboys. I see some mock drafts that people are doing, and he gets to the Cowboys, and great. The issue is any mock draft I see, and if I see Devon Witherspoon is drafted at position 20 or more, I ignore that mock draft because he's not making it. He's that good. Like the step up. Before we've spoken about this in the past, in other, in past years when we've done this draft show, that you want to see a nice step up progression each year. You don't want it to just be this flash all of a sudden, because we've seen what that can be like, especially from quarterbacks like from BYU. you see things like that happen, or you see the opposite way where players are going backwards. So that's a decline, and you think, oof. But with Devon Witherspoon, it's not just an incline. It's each season is a big explosion. That he's gotten better, and then all of a sudden he's gotten better, and then in the third year, I mean, the guy was just firing on all cylinders, and he is a quick thinker, which is what makes him good to begin with. But he's also got all the physical assets you look for at the position, and they're all at an elite level. I'm trying to bring up some stats that I had on him. Like, here we go. So, so this is like one of the craziest ones, that he finished top 5 in the country in completion percentage allowed, forced incompletions, passer rating allowed, and yards allowed per coverage snap. So like he's like in the top 5 of the main signature stats that you look at for cornerbacks.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, this guy he's just a nuisance. And I've done a scouting report on Witherspoon. And he really, I mean, like, when you tick all the boxes, there are literally none you don't tick with Witherspoon. There are obviously some negatives with him, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
He's not like this perfect cornerback.
No one is.
But he's intelligent enough that he can understand the routes. You can see that he figures it out. He gets already, which is a big thing, not just passing routes. He gets concepts. He gets offensive concepts, which is a big thing, because like that's hard for college players to do to the next level. But what he also has is, you know, that click and close ability, because he's got such high level athletic traits in terms of acceleration and quickness, agility and speed, that if the ball does get out of them, he's there in a flash. He is definitely, for me, the number 1 cornerback in this year's draft. And I like, a lot of people last year were talking about, you know, like Sauce Gardner, and in previous years we've had other guys, you know, names just escaped me.
Sertan and Horn.
There you go. Yeah, it's just on the tip of my tongue. But people aren't doing that with Witherspoon, and I think he is actually some of those guys. He's right up there with them in that terms. He's that good. Yeah. And you also in Illinois, you see, they've put him on an island. They've said, right, you're out there on your own, and he's managed it. He's played against some good wide receivers in college on an island, and he's done it. He's got the production. In terms of, like, so people will say, like, what's wrong with him? The big one that I put on there, and it's one we'll get to as well with Joey Porter, which is even worse in this respects, is it's the style of play that they do, especially in the red zone, creates a lot of flags, because they do like to push the physicality side towards them a lot. And what that does when they go that way is, in the NFL, it will create a lot of illegal contact flags, is what it'll create. So they'll put that down as defensive pass interference. And Devon Witherspoon is already doing that in college, where it's made a little bit easier. So you think when he's going to the next level, where the rules are a bit tougher, but also the players are better, you wonder, how bad is it going to get? Because, I mean, like in 2022, he had 6 penalties against him. The year before, the same. So it's a trend that's common with him.
Yeah. I mean, look, in terms of the physicals, like, you know, does he fit the Dan Quinn mold? Like, because obviously, like, one of the guys I picked is Joey Porter, and I'm kind of looking at him going 6'2" corner, little bit light, you know. So where does Devon Witherspoon fit in on a Dan Quinn system?
I don't think he does. That's one thing. Like, if he was available, like, don't get me wrong, because people would be like, oh, well, that means we're not drafting him. No, like, because the talent is so obvious, it's so high. If he's there at 26, you don't take him. You don't not take him. Sorry, like you've got to. You've got no choice. The guy is a massive talent for the position, and like I say, he's the number one cornerback in this year's draft. So the issue with him, the aggressiveness, it is going to be a problem for Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
So he likes the intelligent. He is intelligent, but he makes these bad mistakes, these bad moves that isn't gonna be what he wants. And also the other thing, like I say, you look at the step up progression that Witherspoon had year by year, and I wonder with Dan Quinn if he's sitting there thinking, yeah. You is freshman and sophomore year, yeah. But then there's just this massive incline. It's not a steady; it's a huge incline, and I wonder if that's just gonna keep him back enough to be like, and like when you think back to the issues, the complaints people have about Trayvon Diggs in terms of willingness to tackle, same thing with Devin Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Is that going to be what Dan Quinn wants? Does he want that problem twice?
Yeah. Just some of the comments that are coming in terms of Witherspoon and the cornerback position. So DJ Dog is saying he sees Witherspoon as a nickel or slot cornerback, and he loves to tackle in the run game. DJ Dog has also said he will tackle and he's interested to see his 40 time. And Christian Gonzalez is his top cornerback, will easily go for 40 inches on the vertical jump.
Yeah. So Gonzalez is one I'm going to watch. So ironically, the combine for cornerbacks, defensive backs, is massive. This can make or break most cornerbacks. It is right here is the combine. For them, there's nothing bigger. Because the athletic, it's all about athletic traits with cornerbacks, and that's what they're doing at the combine. You're looking at athletic traits. So they can make a lot of money or they can lose a lot on this one particular day. And Gonzalez is one that I am going to pay attention to because his athletic profile is crazy, and he is a good cornerback too. But I just think there's Gonzalez in comparison to with Gonzalez is a better athlete. With a better dissector of routes.
Yeah. And like you kind of segued into a great point there, Mike. And obviously, look, there was we heard a bit of news over the weekend from a guy who performed brilliantly at his combine. Had a great 8-year season, and it looks like he's now being forced to retire in Byron Jones.
Yeah.
That is the kind of combine you want to have. Obviously, you don't want to have what has happened to him and what he was saying over the weekend. But that's what a great combine can have for you. That's the impact.
Make you millions. Yeah.
Millions and millions.
That's just a good example of the defensive back clash with the combine. They can make their millions on this one day. There is no other position in the combine is more important. In terms of the athletic testing. For everyone else, it's all about interviews and medicals is really what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. Joseph is saying he would take Porter if Robinson is gone at 26. So Joseph, obviously, I'm sure you've had Joseph in on your program. So Joseph is a huge Longhorns fan, so I can see why he's saying taking Robinson. And there was a comment from Stephen about that earlier today, which, as we always say, this is the lying season. So buyer beware.
Take everything with a pinch of salt. Everything.
And DJ Dog just coming back in. Byron Jones still holds the record for the longest standing broad jump at the combine. DJ Dog, that's actually a world record. It was
There's two Cowboys actually with records at the combine.
Yeah.
Des Bryant holds the other one.
He does.
Mm.
Go on, tell us all.
10-yard split.
There we go. It was very, very impressive. It was under 1.2, wasn't it?
It was. I will have a look now. It was insane. Like I didn't even register at first, and then I was like, "Oh wait," but it is. I'll find it for you now. But anyway, talk about your guy.
Yeah, while Mike is finding that, obviously the next guy, and a few people have mentioned him that we're looking at is Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State. So 3-year starter out of Penn State, has that Dan Quinn size, 6'2", 1.88 meters. He's a bit light, and this is one of the concerns that people have, is that he doesn't have a lot of bulk on his frame and will be beaten out by better cornerbacks. He is the son of Joey Porter, so has proven NFL pedigree. He as you said, Mike, about Witherspoon, about the numbers and how they're trending. Again, Joey Porter's numbers were all trending in the right direction across the 4 seasons he played at Penn State. His QBR rating when targeted in coverage has dropped from 156.3 down to 63, or 156.3 down to 63.6 in his senior year. That's what you want to see from your cornerbacks.
Like the thing with Joey Porter that people get misconstrued with is that they will go, like in his senior year especially, they're like, yeah, but where's the ball skills? Where's the production? Because he's got no interceptions. And it's like, for well, it's twofold. The issue there is, one, the way Penn State play the defensive backs on that weird rotation system that they have. The other one is that it's not a bad thing. Talking of Byron Jones, here's a good example. Is that teams didn't want to target Joey Porter. They were afraid of him, and that's why. And like, I believe, like, hold on, I think I read it earlier, and I've made a note of it. He had in his senior year, there you go, 30 targets, and that was on double-digit games. So he's getting only 3 targets a game, and he's got a decent number of snaps. So
like he had 440 snaps last year.
That's fine. So teams were just afraid to target him, and a lot of that reason for the unwillingness for teams to want to target him was how he's able to jam at the line, because he is insanely physical at the line, and he has been doing that his entire career. Because he's quite a strong guy in that sense. What you're looking for really with Joey Porter, he is a pure press man corner, which is a good thing to see. To come out of college, it's quite common at the moment. You've seen a lot of corners come in out of college who are particularly good. It's the zone where they're trying to learn at the moment. But as we said with Witherspoon, there's a video on my Twitter of Joey Porter the good and Joey Porter the bad. And Joey Porter the bad is actually him, like literally, he's not even holding the wide receiver. He's basically bear hugging him over top of him, so he can't get his arms out to catch in the end zone, which is obviously then a DPI in the end zone.
Flag straight up.
That is it. And he's he did reduce his flags from this season, from the season before, but it's still there. He is a high IQ guy as well. That's a big one. He's got the size that I would say, based on his athletic skills. But you look at how tough he is and how strong he is, I would definitely say he is able to do what he does in college and translate that into the NFL, because he is strong enough. And he's also, I can't remember what his wingspan and his arm length is. It's massive. It's huge. it's enveloping. So not only can he keep you out of jam and hold you in there, but also then when the ball is going out and you see it going down there, because he's got this huge catch radius and this big span that he can work from, it's hard to get those throws in there against him.
Yeah, he does tend to get, as you say, the arms out, the hand in. He's able to defend, past breakups. Like his number, as you say, he was targeted 30 times last year. In those 30 targets, he had 9 pass breakups. So he has that ability with that wingspan to make a play on the ball. So he's definitely someone that's going to come into consideration. Like his, some of the notes that I have here is that he defends slot receivers in man. He breaks down the space. He's a good route recognition, but as you say, he's grabby, he's handsy, and that is not good for someone who's transitioning into the NFL level. And why I would have a concern about drafting him at 26. I know he's one of Broadus's pet cats, but I do have concerns.
Yeah, I mean, like, he is what we're talking with the combine and defensive backs, is that his speed is sort of average, is the best way to put it.
Yeah. Yes.
The issue is, though, it's also his recovery speed is another thing. And that is, I would say, worse than his top end speed. So if a wide receiver gets the step on him and can get past him, which can happen and does, they're not going to win everyone. It's how you can, you're not going to always win at the line and win at jamming, but it's how are you able to deal with it when it breaks loose. And what happens, though, is when it does break loose with Joey Porter, because he doesn't have the speed or the ability to recover, he doesn't win that battle back, and so it does turn into a game that way. And I just checked; it was 13 penalties in the last 2 years. The only other thing then is because he's got that taller size as well. He does have issues with change of direction, and one of the parts I put was changing from a back pedal. To turning and going deep. That is it. Look, you watch it, you don't even need to time it or know what you look. You don't have to look at it, but you can point it out now. And when you go back and look at it, you'll be like, oh yeah, that does look slow. So when he's backpedaling, he turns, and then to go downfield, it just seems to take a while. And I think it's not athleticism.
Yeah,
that's an issue. I think he just needs to learn a bit of the foot technique in getting himself around.
Yeah. So that is Joey Porter. Now, see, I know the next guy you're going to bring up, Mike, and there have been a few questions coming in from DJ Dog. Keely Ringo is a former sprinter. He'll go 4.4 or under. He says he likes him, and Branch the safety. Branch is a tweener body between cornerback and safety, and Dan Quinn would use him correctly. Your Monday mock draft yesterday, you drafted Brian Branch as a safety. So, given DJ Dog's comments there that he's a bit of a tweener, did that factor in when you drafted him?
Brian Branch, to me, is just one of the most, in terms of like a first round pick, he's one of the most safest picks. In terms of floor and ceiling, they're really close together. They're really, he's just a really good player. The reason why people don't kind of overlook him, if you like, is that he is a cornerback. He looks like a cornerback, but he's playing strong safety, so it looks weird to look at, and that's the trouble.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think as DJ Dog is saying, that he can play that tweener, and Dan Quinn will figure out how to use him correctly. So, I know in the same way as everyone gets out offensively, you don't take a running back. And I've been saying this, we're doing this program 4 years now, and I always say we never draft a safety. If we draft Brian Branch, we're not drafting him to play safety.
I mean, possibly he's a really good run stopper, and like that's the guy you want, just like hovering around the box. I don't want him out on corner. The only good thing about having him out on corner is he's going to set the edge for you. That's for sure. I mean, that's how physical he is.
Yeah. But look, obviously, we're not going to get into safety talk tonight because there will be a show about safeties further down the line. And Brian
Emotional, damn it!
But look, the other guy that the guys are talking about there, obviously, look, Keely Ringo, take it away again. He seems to have that prototypical Dan Quinn body, size, frame.
Yeah, I mean, here's another guy. More measurables I want to look at because on Blogging the Boys, I've done one of the scouting reports on Ringo. Is that he's like 6'2.5", but he's got these really long arms, which is wild. So like he's like in terms of like the body length as well as the athletic traits makes him the most like craziest to watch. He's just it almost looks like like those pass. This is what he does look like when I watch him on tape. Is at first is that pass coverage off ball linebacker, but he's playing as an out wide cornerback.
Yeah.
So that's how big he looks, but he doesn't lose any of that fluidity and speed as he's playing at that position. It's really good to watch. In terms of like his statistics, like, and it goes year by year by year. That I say year by year is that 4 touchdowns but 4 interceptions, and only has a passer rating allowed of 70, and on 546 pass coverage snaps last year, he only allowed 42 receptions. And that's for the Georgia Bulldogs. So you think there's a lot of quick passes that offenses are doing because they're going to be so worried about the defensive line. Keely Ringo had to just basically cover up as best as he could. And he really did cover up. And that's another thing you got to throw in as well, is that in the college football playoffs, he made a pick 6 to win the game.
Yeah.
It was Ringo that run down there with the ball.
Yeah. Which is just crazy to think about.
Yeah. His top end speed, like, or top end, his top end speed and his 10-yard split are going to make people have to reevaluate him, because they're going to look at it and they're going to go, oh, wow. Like, I do believe, because they wear the chips in the pads.
Yeah.
I think like they've had him on game speed. I had like shy of 24 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's fast. That is burning. That's moving.
Yeah. It is. It is. I think I'm just trying to see, because I know, DJ Dog pulled it up here. He said he's a former sprinter. He'll go 4.4 or under.
Yeah.
He might go under 4.3.
Yeah, I don't. It's like, I think Devon A-Chain is going to run the fastest.
That's your own Aggie, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It feels like that's who I'm picking because he's not.
No.
Like,
be fair, I've heard he's a burner. So
wait till you watch it. Like, he's done. He used to run a 100-meter sprint, and he's done it in sub 10. That's how fast he is. That's Olympic speed.
Oh yeah.
That's like, you can go in the Olympics running that speed. So yeah, I mean, like, I do like Ringo. The issue he has, and it sounds a weird thing to say, is that he can overreact to things, and that makes him bite. You want to see a little bit more fluidity in the hips, because he's not a fluid player.
Yeah.
But he is insanely overreactive. Not just to what the offense is trying to do pre-snap, but also wide receivers will make him overreact to things. So like they'll do like a step to step or a head fake, and he will react to it. That is his that's his biggest downfall.
Yeah. So is he, if he gets there at 26, and I think he will definitely be there.
He'll be there at 26. Yeah.
I'm just laughing at the comments that that DJ Dog has just thrown in. We'll pull them up in a second. If he's there at 26, are you handing in that card?
Not for Ringo, no, not there.
Not for Ringo. Okay.
Unless the plan is, unless Donovan Wilson is gone, and you're teetering on the edge, that the branches. Say this would be a crazy situation, but say Branch is gone.
Yeah.
Johnson is gone as well.
Yeah.
And you're thinking of manipulating Ringo into the safety position. But he does give you options to also play at the cornerback position if that doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So there's like that versatility you can have with him in that respect, depending on the plan. Because he is like 210 pounds. So he's got the weight to be able to play the safety position. But that's the only reason why I think they could do it. I don't think they would for that reason though. But if you saw Donovan Wilson go to another team before the draft, and then you see the Keely Ringo draft pick come in, you can put 2 and 2 together about what their plan is there. Yeah.
So as we say, DJ Dog is reading my mind, or he must be reading over my shoulder, because he does say this cornerback class is very deep.
Yeah,
and that's what we're going to do now. We're going to get a little bit deeper into it. And Hodges Tomlinson, cornerback from TCU, is my choice is fastest in the cornerback class. He's tiny though. So
yes,
Trevidius Hodges Tomlinson is one of my guys I have written down. So again, he does have track star speed. He's projected to run the 40-yard dash in 4:30. When I was writing up my report on this guy, obviously, look, cornerback out of TCU, he's a 3-year starter, Jim Thorpe winner this year. So I mean, he's not just some guy.
He's not there by luck.
Yeah, this guy has nearly 2,500 snaps. His quarterback rating when targeted over his 4 years in college football is 56.3. It was 38.9 this year.
That's good.
He is like, the guy is, he has the experience, his small stature, but he plays a lot bigger. He can play all 5 of the backfield positions if you want him to. He's a solid tackler and he wraps up. Again, he played safety in high school. His skills and explosiveness are unbelievable. He's a star in zone, which is what you want in today's modern NFL. His change of direction is as high as can be. And then obviously, look, he's a huge football IQ. So this is a guy, and this is where the knock is on him as a player. He's 5'7".
Yeah. And he's sub 180 as well.
Yeah. He's 177 is what I have. For a lot of teams, he's going to be off their boards. He's not even going to be on a board for teams, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
What is your own take on him as a player, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, because I watched a little bit of him. Mostly most of my notes are just from what I've seen throughout the season on Tomlinson, and because I seen the height and the weight, and I was just like, nah. And I've watched a little bit of him, not as much as obviously as you have there, but the bits I have seen, I've been like, yeah, that guy is. If you're gonna have him as anything in the NFL, he's a pure slot only. That's all you can do with him, and that's all I looked at. So, and because I think the Cowboys are more looking for an outside slot so they can move they can move up. Obviously, the players we got back in. So I think more than anything, Tomlinson doesn't make sense for the Cowboys. He's going to make sense for a team out there, but if you are drafting him, you're drafting him only to play the slot.
Yeah, and I think for us, I think slot could potentially be tied down now with Deron Bland being there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, move our own guys inside.
Yeah. So, he is a guy to watch out for, and obviously, look, he's NFL royalty. He is the nephew of LaDainian Tomlinson again.
Yeah, that's right.
Player. Yeah, so some team is going to take a chance on this guy.
Yeah,
and is he one of these guys who is going to be, how do I put it, a Pete Warner or Josie Jewell, a guy you can pick up maybe fourth, fifth, sixth round, and you just know he's going to get a second and third contract in the NFL.
Like if you give him a plan on the right defense, he will produce, because he's small as well. Bear in mind, if they're big, then that means that they're slow and lumbering. So if you're small, that means that you're quick and agile, and that's what I've seen with Tomlinson. So, he's definitely be playing off zone. You're gonna have to play him off zone in the slot because he does struggle with the big receivers. So you're not going to be playing him outside. But if you want a specialist to play in, that soft zone coverage from the slot, there's a definite role for that player in the NFL. That's your guy. So your defense needs to be somewhere down that line. The Cowboys aren't down that line, unfortunately. They're in the market for something different.
Yeah. So, look, we've talked about 4 guys. If you want to give us your final guy, and I think this is a guy who's definitely going to be available to the Cowboys at 26.
Which one do you want to go for? Because I know we'd only do 5, and I got my 2. Which one do you want to go for, mate?
So if you want to go for Forbes.
Go Manuel Forbes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this guy, he is your... in terms of like what Trayvon Diggs is in terms of boom or bust, and literally we're talking play by play, that Trayvon Diggs in the past, as we've seen, can catch the ball, make a pick six, run down, and they'll make that score on literally the very next play, allow a touchdown. That's Emmanuel Forbes. He's this boom or bust, and I know that's going to scare people. But this guy is just a turnover machine. Not a guy personally I would take in the first round, but if I'm wanting to cover my bases, like say we've taken wide receiver or linebacker, inside offensive line in the first round, and I'm looking at the second round to a cornerback, Emmanuel Forbes is not a bad way to go. Crazy versatile in what you can do. So bear in mind the coaching tree that's gone into Mississippi State is from the Mike Leach era, bless his soul. Love Mike Leach, by the way.
Anyone
legend
didn't love Mike Leach.
Like I'm not a big Mississippi State fan, obviously SEC and all that, but I would always stay up to watch the Mike Leach interviews. They were legendary. But the way that they play their style of football on defense, where it's this, they literally love it, and it is almost nauseating to watch. There must be a reason why the coaches go down this road, but they play that off-zone coverage on defense a ton. An absolute ton. Like, it's literally the main way they go. I don't know why, but okay. But Forbes is this press man corner who that's really what he wants to be. He wants to play that way. Really good at it when he does it. To defend in the run, because obviously he's that type of physical player, loves it. But because he's in a system that he's not used to, he's got that versatility. So he's able right now to go into the NFL, play both ways, whichever way they want to go on defense, where they want to play press man, where they want to play officer. It doesn't matter. Forbes is already there. He's already scheme versatile. And, although he's willing to play the run, he does need to get stronger because he will struggle. It's more that he makes these gambles and these misreads against wide receivers, and that's what happens. The exact same thing you can say about Trayvon Diggs, that he'll give these wide receivers a little bit of cushion, or he'll let the wide receivers lead, hoping that he can use his frame and his athletic ability to get back in to close that passing window down quickly. He is honestly, he's just a turnover machine is all I can say. I'm trying to find out so over the last 3 years, 13 interceptions.
Wow.
Yeah. So 13 interceptions. The next guy down had 4 less.
Yeah.
So I mean, this guy, honestly, when he's in man, he just does not give any up. If he's in press man, will not let anything go. And when we're talking about because I suppose it's kind of the scheme as well, playing all that off zone, that what you're seeing with Forbes when he's in that zone coverage is he'll find that ball. He can look down, look over his shoulder, he'll locate the ball, get those arms up, catch it, coming down with it. And that's why I think it was 6 interceptions. Hold on, let me get his stats. I believe it was 6. Yeah, he had 6 interceptions. And he had 14 in the last 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So and that was only on 58 targets too.
Mm-hmm.
So go on.
The question really is, will he get to the Cowboys at pick 58?
I think so. Forbes is that type of guy. What we're hoping for is that he tests good, but he just tests good enough for people to not notice. So they're just like, all right, okay. Because his issues is that he is lanky. He's only like 180 pounds. So he is skinny. And I don't know if maybe that's why he gambles, because he's trying to make up for a little bit of the mistakes that he makes technically. So he does gamble a little bit. And you get a lot of freelancing from him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you can tell that he's gone off script.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it because he's doing something completely different from what the other guys are doing. But although he is skinny, if you put in your mind, like, how do you want a corner to look, like body wise, frame wise, shape wise, it would be Emmanuel Forbes. Like, that's the prototype you make.
Yeah. So obviously, look, it is flavors of ice cream, as we say, in once you get to the second, third round guys. And the last guy we're gonna talk about, another Alabama player. Again, no, this is a guy who started in LSU.
Yeah.
2 years in LSU, final year in Alabama, 3-year starter. Eli Ricks Jr.
Do you know what's funny? You say about when he was at LSU. I would just so people have a perspective of Eli Ricks. He was there with Derek Stingley, and Ricks outplayed Stingley, I would say, in his time with him. Yeah, and you think like how Stingley is in the NFL. Ricks was far beyond what Stingley was.
Yeah, he absolutely was. Like, just when I was doing up my report earlier today, like his QBR when targeted in coverage in 2020, 60.3. 2021 went up to 84.4. And then in his year in Alabama, 41.8.
Nice.
Like, this is a guy you want in coverage. But again, he's another one of those boomer bust plays. Like,
injury concerns is what it is with Ricks.
Yeah.
Like,
I was going to say, like, he'll give up the big plays. He's not a press corner. He'll draw flags, and he's hesitant in facing action in zone coverage. You know, there are concerns. It's not all sunshine with him.
Yeah, like, he's really good. What I've seen, I'm gonna watch more on Rex because I give, as you know, players all scores, and there's just a couple of scores missing off Rex, and then I'm done. But he is really good at reading certain routes, like the shorter routes, you know, like the hitches, and when they're trying to make a break on a seam route, he's really good at reading that. He's right there, like step for step in the. You always, one of the things we always say is you want to see a cornerback be in the wide receiver's hip pocket, and he is. He's in there. Does that really well. The one, like we talk about combine, unfortunately. For us, we don't get to see it, but for Ricks, it's gonna all be about his injuries. You know, you're talking shoulder injuries, back injuries, hand and wrist. Some of them are big injuries. Like, hold on, how many games did he play this year? 9. So you think you only played 9 games this year, and you only played 6 games the year before. So he's barely played a season worth of games in 2 years.
Yeah, I think, like, when I was doing the numbers up, like, I had snap count as one of my figures. He had 1,040 snaps across 3 years. Trevidius Hodges Tomlinson had 1,012 snaps in 2022.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say he's got like basically a roundabout. You know, I know Tomlinson. You're going to see him playing special teams as well, so that's going to rack up his numbers. But he's barely played a full season. You know, he's played a season and a half in 3 years.
Yeah.
So it is concerning. And also another one with Rex is I don't think he's a guy, because of the lack of suddenness from him, he's not a guy I want to be playing in the slot. So he lacks versatility in that sense. You're only going to have him as an outside corner.
Yeah.
He is really good though. The issue is that he does have moments of where things go wrong.
Yeah.
He is a really good player when he's playing. You know, we're talking about he was better than Stingley. One of the issues me and you said about Stingley coming out was the injury concerns.
Yeah.
Same thing. Here we are again.
Yeah.
You know, it's another ex-LSU player with a string of injury history.
Yeah. My big point with him is that he's quick, he's confident, he's a cover corner, and he plays very big. So he does have the ability, but it's everything else, as you say, injuries flags,
the biggest one. Yeah.
And that's the huge problem. So we just have 2 quick questions, Mike, before we get out of here. As we said, we are on the clock tonight. Joe was saying he believes we're getting Ramsey from the LA Rams, and we can use the 4th round pick on a right tackle because nobody knows if Terrence Steele is coming back healthy yet. So there's a couple of points in that. I don't think we'll be getting Ramsey. No, because I think Stephen has said that they're looking to do extensions for CD Lamb and for Trayvon Diggs. And then the second point on that is Terrence Steele is reportedly already ahead of where he needs to be in terms of his recovery. So he will be back. They reckon he will very certainly be back before the training camp. And then DJ Dog had a question here, and this I think this might be stemming from Mel Kiper's mock draft 2.0. if we get cleaned out at wide receiver, offensive line, cornerback at 26, would you be willing to go to get the top tight end in the draft?
Yeah. Easy answer. Yeah.
So which tight end is it going to be for you?
Yeah, well, I'm not taking like a pass blocking tight end, so you know who I'm eliminating there.
Mhm.
But if May is there, yes, without a doubt, I'd be happy with that pick. You know, I have constantly filled my tweet stream with with talks of Dalton Kincaid. There's
that's
another
who
one.
Mel Kiper picked.
Yeah, they're both like the thing is. I'll go back to again. Is that go back and look at both last year and this year. What was common between the teams that were at the Super Bowl? Good defensive lines, and they've all got an elite tight end.
Yep.
There we go. So, like, both you look in this year's, you know, you look it, the last three teams, if you like, that were going through: San Francisco 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles, and Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
You're talking about maybe 1, 2, 3 in terms of ranking of tight end. So why would you not want to, especially with Dalton Schultz being moved on? Yeah, he's going, he's gone. So you need a tight end. Not only do you need a tight end, drafting a tight end is a good way to go. Kincaid, he's quite easily the best pass catching, right running tight end in this year's draft. May is the best all rounder.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if you're looking to take a tight end in the first, I'm waiting until next year and hoping Brock Bowers gets to us.
Yeah, he is good, but you know, the issue you got with, and it's both tight end and defensive tackle, particularly, is you do have a long sort of fruition period waiting for that to come through. Like you look, Kelsey and Kittle, they're both in their 30s and they're deemed the best tight ends in the draft. So you do have to wait a while for those guys to come through.
Yeah, and like this is the concern you would have with anyone drafting a tight end in the first, is are they going to be that generational talent? Because, you know, we drafted at 10 in 2021. We were all on the train. Kyle Pitts really hasn't done it yet at NFL level. Not to say he won't.
He's on the wrong team. They're like, I will to stick up for Pitts. The Falcons are misusing him completely.
Cheeky trade.
I've already said that one. We did it last week. I said, would you trade Pitts your first round? Would the Cowboys trade your first round pick for Pitts? Makes total sense. It works.
And on that bombshell, we will wrap up tonight. So, Mike, if you want to give a shout out for Thursday night's show.
So on Thursday, trying to get a special guest in. So we'll see how that goes. Might come through. Don't know. It's all the wrong time of year for it all. Because everybody's busy. Like everybody's up to their eyeballs in it. But we're gonna look at some more options in the first round for Dallas. Like guys like Brian Branch and, you know, even Robinson from Texas A&M as well.
What?
Well, maybe not in the first round. Maybe not in the first.
From Texas A&M?
I know.
But listen, it's a good night from me, and I'll throw it over to Mike.
Yes, and it's a good night from him. Let's get out of here.